Hi everybody, my name is Vedran, people call me Vex. I'm CEO and a founder of Revuto, and today I'm gonna talk to you about micro-lending and borrowing, one of our features built on Web3 technology to help people overcome their liquidity problems when paying for their subscriptions. So why micro-lending and borrowing is really awesome for incentivizing the Revuto community on both ends. For those who are going to borrow money and for those who are going to be lending money to others to actually earn some fee by doing so. So let's say that you have a Netflix subscription and tomorrow is the due date, and for any kind of reason you don't have funds to pay for that subscription, but you know that you're going to get those $10 in the next 5, 6, 10 days. It's important that it's within 30 days. So what you can do in Revuto, you can actually borrow those $10 to pay for your Netflix, not to be suspended, and to watch your favorite TV show. So how we do that? So we do that by creating the liquidity pool for micro-lending and borrowing. And what that means? That means that there are going to be funds which people who are going to be borrowing, they're going to be borrowing funds from that pool, and there's going to be people within the Revuto ecosystem, lenders, which are going to be lending money or providing liquidity to that pool. All the liquidity is going to be provided in crypto, in stablecoin, and that's why the stablecoin is really important for Revuto ecosystem, because we don't want to expose those people who are going to be lending money to volatility of crypto asset. So when it comes to micro-lending and borrowing, those who are going to be borrowing money, they're going to be credit scored, meaning that not everybody is going to be eligible to actually take money from that liquidity pool. What that means? So that means that if you're going to be the new user and if you're going to be not using the Revuto for a longer period of time, if you don't have more virtual debit cards and subscriptions that you have been paying for a longer period of time, successfully paying, then you're not going to be eligible probably to borrow money from that liquidity pool. Also, we're going to track what you do in the Revuto ecosystem. If you either, again, if you're going to be providing the liquidity, if you're going to be staking in Revuto staking center, if you're going to be premium Revuto users, and similar things. But to explain you how we credit score users, I need to explain you also how this setup works and why it is set up to be sustainable and profitable for Revuto business. So those, let's say that your Netflix is $10 and you're going to borrow those $10. When you're going to borrow those $10, you're going to get money on your Revuto wallet and you're going to be able to actually spend it just for your Netflix. Meaning, when you're going to be returning money to that pool, you're going to be paying a fee. Fee, for now, we calculate it and it's going to be somewhere around 6% for that 30 days, within the 30 days. Meaning that when you're going to be returning money, you're going to return $10.60. 60 cents is not much if you're really stuck in that situation when you need to pay for your Netflix and your favorite TV show is going to go up today, but you don't have money to do so. On the other hand, those which are going to be lending are going to get around, we're going to start with it, 4% of monthly yield. It's a really awesome yield if you take in consideration that this can be month after month. So on a yearly basis, this really can be a good source of profits for the lenders. This 2%, which is a difference between 6 and 4, is something that Revuto is counting as profits. Although those 2% also need to cover all those borrowings or microloans that people are not gonna be paying. We need to also emphasize that this micro-lending and borrowing feature is the first one, we call it uncollateralized, meaning that you don't necessarily need to put any funds to be able to borrow money. We're gonna credit score you, and we're gonna actually leverage the whole Revuto ecosystem to make you repay that loan. What that means? So we have our CTO, Marko Rukonic, we call him Rux, who is actually AI expert, and he's credit scoring expert. He did the credit scoring for Intuit, which is the biggest fintech in the world. And he did the credit scoring for QuickBooks. So why is that credit scoring really important? Because what Marko did is he was in Intuit, he was actually tracking all the transactions that people did within the Intuit ecosystem. They have a few products there, and according to those transactions, he was able to find out who is eligible actually to get a loan. And he, with his team, did it pretty well, and Marko has 27 patents relevant to that technology, which you can actually check online. What that means? So again, Marko is going to track for those borrowers what they do within the Revuto ecosystem in past months, and decide actually if the user is eligible to take advantage of micro-lending and borrowing setup actually to borrow money, and also how much he can borrow money. Also, if those loans which borrowers are taking are going to be repaid repeatedly, then we're going to also allow those people to actually loan more with time. So actually more funds. This 6% of rate, or actually the fee, and 4% of yield, those numbers are never going to be fixed. So Marko is going to use his algorithms and everything to calculate how much people actually need to pay that, let's call it interest rate or a fee, when returning, according to how successful those returns are going to be, how many faulty those loans are going to be, and then also to calculate the amount or the yield that people are going to be getting. Again, this is an awesome setup for both sides, because these people can have liquidity problems for a short time. These are the short microloans, so we are talking about amounts directly connected to the amounts people need to pay on a due date for certain subscriptions. And also it's an awesome setup for the lenders. Also, we're going to calculate how big the liquidity pools are going to be according to how much of an interest is going to be from this side of the people. We believe that this is a unique setup. It's a sustainable setup. It's more like a traditional crediting setup, and still allowing awesome possibility for the lenders to earn some additional funds within Revuto ecosystem. So yeah, that's it. This thing is going to be launched after we launch virtual debit cards, because again, without the virtual debit cards, this cannot work, because when people borrow money, they're not going to be able to top up those virtual debit cards if they're not out. And also people are not going to be able to pay for the things later. I just have to mention that the same setup is going to be used for, we call it buy now, pay later feature, which is going to be connected to physical debit cards, meaning that people are going to be able to use those physical debit cards not only to pay for their subscription, but to pay things online and even offline, and possibly in the future withdraw cash on ATMs. That's why we also mentioned that those physical cards are not going to be just debit cards, but in a way also credit cards, because they're going to be able to take advantage of this setup and actually pay for something, even though they don't have necessarily their own funds at the time. Yeah, thank you. That's it.
If you like Revuto and think our videos are cool and informative, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss out on any of our new videos. Thank you.